Why do people miss the good old days? And what does it teach us about modern society? Right. There's a lot of people out there, especially YouTube videos, where you can see of people reminiscing over the good old days. They post videos of like a high school class that graduated in the 90s and they say, look how much happier everyone looked at. They post like the marriage statistics on like the 90s and 80s, and it's like, look how much happier everyone was. They post like the general statistics on inflation and how far the dollar got you back in the 90s, and they say, look how much better life was back then, you know? But is there a science to it? Why do people reminisce over the good old days, before we started kind of reaching this era of where everything is kind of digitized and everything is a little bit different nowadays, right? So, in general, Um, we discussed the idea of why, right? We know that a lot of people reminisce over the good old days, but why, right? And the basic idea is pretty much, what do people miss about the good old days? Is different about the 90s versus the modern 2020s, right? You'll notice that in the 90s, there wasn't really a smartphone, more common computer era, right? People were more encouraged to have interactions in person. People didn't really have a lot of distractions in general. And by distractions, I mean people didn't really have much to do except develop their relationships in person, except meet up with people in person, except actually interact with people. And I'm not saying people don't do that now, but consider that we live in a modern society where a lot of interactions that are encouraged kind of move us away from natural instincts and possibly even move us further away from God, even, right? When you think about the 90s or even the 80s or 70s, like in a healthier way, we were kind of in tune to our natural instincts where we kind of go outside, speak to people, communicate with people. It's like you literally have to go to a certain place and speak to someone. You can't just, look up their Instagram and stuff like that. You literally had to go out and speak to people. You literally had to go out and venture into the world, right? You literally had to go out and do things. And even though a lot of good things came out from the internet and technology era, consider that in general that in some ways people have kind of moved away from that. People have kind of moved away from God. People have kind of moved away from their natural instincts. You have a lot of people kind of locked in on their phone, kind of just watching numbers go up. They literally want to see numbers go up in terms of money, in terms of followers. And there's so many things that kind of like are competing in this attention economy. I consider that there's video games that you could play that a lot of people do play and kind of count themselves out in terms of society. There's streams you could watch, there's YouTube to watch. Consider in this attention economy, people aren't really encouraged to actually develop real relationships with people. And everything is pretty much kind of more of a digitized economy. Everyone is kind of encouraged to kind of move away from themselves, even to move away from God. And what we're dealing with here in modern society is a lot of people are moving away from how they're naturally designed to be, their natural habitat, their natural instincts, their natural relationship with God. And it's no surprise, we see a severe decline, in mental health. And I'm not saying it's because of the internet why that exists, but it's like those studies they post on animals in zoos, where if you take a lion from its natural habitat and you put it in a zoo, the lion does live longer when it's in captivity, doesn't really undergo stress of dealing with predators or food stress, starvation. But the lions actually seem to have and animals seem to have severe mental health issues when you lock them up in a cage. And, you know, it's something to think about. Right. It's something to think about. When you put an animal in a cage, it kind of does get depressed. When you take it away from its natural habitat and you remove it from its natural instincts, it does get depressed. And animals know it's dangerous being in their natural habitat, kind of being in tune to the natural instincts. Now, despite that, they have this mindset, and I'm sure you've seen it online. It's like it's better to be a lion for a year than a lion for a year than like a sheep for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? It's like they know that it's natural, and they're in the free world, and they are in some tune truly found a connection to their real selves and a connection to God.